off. And the trucks are lined up and ready. The playoff elimination race. Round one of the playoffs. Christopher Bell, the pole winner on the inside. Johnny Sauter on the outside. And the green waves. We are racing at Talladega. Bell to the point, but side by side. All the way back through the field.
As you saw that gap come between the 4 truck and the 52 truck, and that top lane was already formed up, and they were able to make up some ground because it pulled Christopher Bell back. And now you see the 21 and the 24 slide down in front, but that was the bottom line did not go because of the fact that the 4 had a gap between the 4 and the 52.
And the 24 and the 21 are teammates, and that's part of their plan. Get to the front, run that bottom line, and try to hold the field on. Unfortunately for them, everybody else has a differing plan.
How big is the teammate dynamic here at Talladega?
It's huge early in the race, man. But Kevin, do you agree? Stage racing has changed that. You've got to go out and get something done for your guys, for the guys that work specifically on your truck and your sponsors. You've got to be dedicated to try to get the victory on your own.
Well, the one thing I can say about team racing here is you have the 21 who is in the playoffs, and you have the 24 behind him who is not in the playoffs. So, you know, your goal as a teammate who, when you're not in the playoffs, is to obviously go out and try to win a race, but you want to be the guy that helps your team and your teammate try to get the best result they can, and that is by collecting points and hopefully a win.
Kevin, remember that 24 truck of Justin Haley was not old enough to race this race at Daytona, but he did come here and win the ARCA race. So he's got a great experience going to victory lane here. He should be a lot of help for Johnny Sauter.
And that's very true. And when you're Johnny Sauter and you see your teammate in your mirror, you have a little bit more comfort than you probably would seeing a guy from a different team or a guy who's trying to win the race. And especially in Johnny's case, he's got a teammate behind him that isn't in the playoffs, and he knows the ultimate goal for his GMS team is to win the championship.
Sauter, the only one of the 8 playoff drivers who has a win here at Talladega.
You can see Castrala is still back in the pack. That just tells you how tough it is to pass. He had one of the fastest trucks here in practice yesterday, but he's only made it up to the 22nd position, and quite frankly, there just isn't anywhere to go at times. He could swing out and go 3 wide, but without the draft, he wouldn't have enough speed to pass these other trucks.
Well, the worst thing he wants to see at this particular point is everything that he sees in front of him, and that's a single file line. Because where you want to be on the racetrack at this particular point of the race is on the bottom of the racetrack, and everybody is in a single file line except for these couple, 2 or 3 trucks on the outside of him, but he's not going anywhere.
And I can promise you, Vince, this life ain't for everybody. I mean, this is 190 mile an hour dicing. It's a chess match. You got to be mentally sharp, mentally perfect all day long, and then the physical challenges of running around this racetrack as well. It's just really a tough task today.
Single file along the inside. A couple of them on the outside. Riding on board here with Maya Snyder, and it looks like the truck is really moving around a lot, as we see from this visor cam. Do you feel all that movement as you sit in the seat as a driver?
Well, you do, and the reason that you feel it the most is because your head has about, I don't know, maybe a ½ inch of movement, maybe an inch of movement between the padding on both sides. So every time it hits one of those bumps, because the suspension is really stiff in the trucks, your head bounces off the headrest. So if you can imagine driving down the road with your head bouncing back and forth off of something and trying to drive straight, look in the mirror, and do all the things that you're doing inside this truck, it becomes a big challenge. Bill?
Guys, remember we had a couple issues during qualifying of this new flap coming up on these trucks, and they really felt like it hurt them. Here's Austin Cindric riding around towards the back of the pack, and you can obviously see that his flap right there is up. So they need to address that when it comes to pit road, but there's only so many things they can do. They cannot tape that down. They have to either repair it or take it off, and taking it off is a problem as well.
That's a great view from high up above of how that flap, each of the bed of the truck, each truck has 4 of those flaps that have been put in just specifically